Happiness isn't something life hands out like a participation trophy. It's not wrapped up in a gift box waiting for you to stumble upon it. It's a conscious decision made every single day in every single moment. Most people sit around waiting for happiness, thinking it's going to magically appear when they get more money, a better relationship, or the perfect set of circumstances. That's why they never find it, because they refuse to take control. They live life as if happiness is some external force that might bless them if they're lucky, but luck is for the weak. The strong understand that happiness is a choice, not a coincidence. Look around. You'll see two types of people. Some have every reason to be happy, money, health, freedom, but they're miserable. Others have every reason to be broken, pain, loss, struggle, but they walk around with an iron will, unshaken, focused. What's the difference? Perspective. One group has let life control them, letting their emotions dictate their mood. The other has chosen to control their own mind. They've made a decision that no matter what happens, they will dictate how they feel. That's power. That's control. That's what separates winners from the weak. People have been sold a lie. They've been told that happiness comes from outside themselves, that if they just get the right job, the right partner, the right house, then suddenly they'll feel complete. But that's a scam. That's why you see men who have millions in their bank account still depressed. That's why you see guys who have everything others dream of still empty inside. Because happiness was never about external factors. It was about making the decision to be unbreakable, no matter what life throws at you. If you don't choose happiness now, you never will. Weak people blame the world for their emotions. They say, I'm unhappy because life is unfair, or I can't be happy until things change. That's victim mentality. It's the mindset of someone who will always lose. You think the world is going to shift to make you happy? You think circumstances are going to align perfectly for you? Never. Life is brutal. Life is unfair, and it always will be. The difference between men who thrive and men who crumble is simple. One group makes the choice to dominate their emotions, and the other lets their emotions dominate them. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending bad things don't happen. It's about understanding that no matter what happens, your reaction is what defines you. You lose money, you can sit around sulking, or you can get up and make more. You get betrayed, you can cry about it, or you can learn and move forward. Every moment in life gives you two choices, control or collapse. And most people collapse because they refuse to accept responsibility for their own happiness. They'd rather blame the world than step up and own their mindset. Happiness isn't a feeling that randomly appears. It's built, it's forged through discipline, through action, through the decision to wake up every day and attack life instead of waiting for life to be kind. Weak men seek comfort. They think if they avoid hardship, they'll be happy. But avoidance leads to regret. And regret? That's real suffering. That's the pain of knowing you wasted time, of knowing you could have been more, done more, achieved more, but you chose weakness instead. That's what eats people alive. The happiest men aren't the ones who have the easiest lives. They're the ones who face challenges head on and conquer them. They don't let bad days break them. They don't let setbacks control them. They know that every single situation in life is an opportunity to prove their strength. If you're waiting for happiness to come to you, you've already lost. If you think life is supposed to make you happy, you're playing the wrong game. You make the decision and then you build the life that backs it up. Pain is a privilege because it forges strength in a way comfort never will. Weak men run from pain, hide from struggle, and avoid hardship at all costs. But the strongest men, they embrace it. They understand that pain is the fire that burns away weakness, the hammer that shapes them into something unbreakable. Every great man, every champion, every warrior has suffered. No one becomes powerful by living an easy life. It's the hardship, the sleepless nights, the betrayals, the failures that create a man who cannot be stopped. Pain is the price of greatness, and most people are too soft to pay it. Look at history. Every man who built something legendary had to endure suffering beyond imagination. Soldiers in war zones, entrepreneurs grinding for years in silence, athletes pushing their bodies past the point of breaking. All of them went through hell before they reached success. Pain is not an obstacle, it's the entrance fee. It's the barrier between the average and the exceptional. The weak see pain as a curse, something unfair. The strong see it as a test, a necessary step towards something greater. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners use pain to fuel them, while losers let it destroy them. Society has conditioned people to fear pain. It tells you that discomfort is bad, that struggle should be avoided, that you should seek ease and security. That's why so many people are miserable. They spend their whole lives trying to escape hardship, but in doing so, they also escape growth. The body doesn't get stronger without stress. The mind doesn't sharpen without challenge. If you never go through anything difficult, you remain weak. And a weak man is a man destined for suffering, not the suffering of hardship, but the suffering of regret, of knowing he could have been more, but chose to be less. Pain is the ultimate teacher. It shows you your limits and then dares you to break them. It reveals who you really are when everything is against you. Anyone can be happy when things are easy. Anyone can stay motivated when life is going their way. But who are you when you lose everything? Who are you when your body is exhausted, when your mind is screaming at you to quit? That's when real character is revealed. Pain strips away all the excuses, all the illusions, and forces you to face yourself. And most people don't like what they see. That's why they run from it. But the ones who don't, they become dangerous. The greatest advantage in life is learning to love pain, not just tolerate it, not just endure it, love it. Love the grind, love the suffering, love the challenge of pushing past your breaking point. Because once you stop fearing pain, nothing can control you. No failure can break you. No loss can shake you. You become the kind of man who keeps moving forward no matter how many times life knocks you down. And that kind of man, he wins. Every single time. The reason most people fail is because they look at pain the wrong way. They see it as a reason to stop, when in reality, it's proof they're on the right path. If it hurts, it means you're growing. If it's difficult, it means you're leveling up. Every rep in the gym that burns, every late night working while others sleep, every setback that forces you to rebuild, that's where real success is born. The easy road leads nowhere. The hard road, that's the one that turns men into legends. But pain doesn't just build strength, it builds gratitude. A man who has suffered knows the value of what he earns. A man who has struggled for success will never take it for granted. The richest men are often the ones who started with nothing. The strongest warriors are the ones who have bled the most. Pain makes victory sweeter because you know exactly what it took to get there. The ones who had it easy will never understand that feeling. They will never know what it's like to fight for something with everything they have and come out victorious. Emotions are tools, not masters. The moment you let emotions control you, you've lost. Weak men let their feelings dictate their actions, while strong men use emotions as fuel to push forward. Society has brainwashed people into thinking they should follow their feelings and do what feels right. That's why so many people are weak, broke, and undisciplined. Because feelings are unreliable. One day you feel motivated, the next day you don't. If your success depends on your emotions, you will fail every single time. Winners don't let emotions lead them, they lead their emotions. Think of emotions like fire. Fire can cook your food, warm your home, and forge steel, but if left unchecked, it can burn everything to the ground. Anger, sadness, frustration, these emotions aren't the enemy. The problem is when people let them take over. A weak man feels angry and lashes out. A strong man feels angry and uses that energy to sharpen his mind, train harder, and push through barriers. A weak man feels sad and gives up. A strong man feels sad and turns that pain into power. Emotions are weapons when controlled. They are chains when uncontrolled. Most people live their lives reacting to emotions instead of mastering them. They wake up feeling lazy, so they skip the gym. They feel unmotivated, so they quit their goals. They feel hurt, so they drown in self-pity instead of using that pain to evolve. They are slaves to their own feelings, and that's why they never achieve anything. The strongest men in history weren't controlled by how they felt. They were controlled by their mission, their discipline, their purpose. They did what needed to be done, regardless of how they felt. That's why they won. A man who controls his emotions controls his future. Imagine if every time you felt fear, you pushed forward anyway. Every time you felt weak, you trained harder. Every time you felt sad, you focused on improving instead of breaking down. That's the difference between those who win and those who lose. The world doesn't care about your feelings. Business doesn't care. Life moves forward whether you're in control or not. The question is, will you control your emotions or will they control you? Discipline is the solution. When discipline is your foundation, emotions become irrelevant. You don't need motivation to work hard when discipline is in place. You don't need to feel good to go to the gym when you've trained yourself to show up no matter what. When you let logic and discipline guide your actions instead of emotions, you become unstoppable. Most people wait to feel ready before taking action. That's why they stay stuck. The ones who win take action no matter how they feel. That's real power. Look at the most dangerous men in history. They weren't emotional wrecks. They were calculated, composed, and strategic. They knew when to use emotions and when to shut them off. They knew how to harness fear, rage, and pain as tools to get what they wanted. The greatest warriors didn't let fear control them. They felt it, acknowledged it, and moved forward anyway. That's how you win. You don't deny your emotions, you learn how to use them to your advantage. This is why most people fail in relationships, business, and life. They let emotions drive them into making weak decisions. They chase short-term pleasure instead of long-term success. They act based on how they feel in the moment instead of what will benefit them in the future. That's why they struggle. The men who win are the ones who keep their emotions in check, who don't let temporary feelings steer them off course. They understand that every decision must be made with logic, not impulse. If you can't control your emotions, someone else will. The world is full of manipulators who prey on emotional weakness. Governments, media, marketing, they all use emotions to control people. Fear, outrage, desire. They weaponize emotions to make people react instead of think. If you let emotions run you, you'll always be at the mercy of those who know how to use them against you. Discipline over dopamine. This is the foundation of success. The modern world is designed to keep you weak, distracted, and addicted to instant gratification. Every time you scroll on your phone, binge watch a show, or eat junk food, you're chasing dopamine. You're training your brain to seek comfort instead of achievement. And that's exactly why most people fail. They live like slaves to their impulses, chasing quick pleasure instead of long-term success. A man who can control his desires, who can delay gratification, who can choose discipline over dopamine, is a man who will dominate life. Dopamine is a drug, and most people are addicts without even realizing it. Social media, video games, fast food, pornography, everything around you is designed to keep you weak by feeding you cheap dopamine hits. You feel a little bored, you check your phone. You feel a little sad, you eat some sugar. You feel unmotivated, you escape into entertainment. It's all a trap. Every time you choose dopamine over discipline, you weaken your ability to fight through discomfort, and if you can't handle discomfort, you can't handle success. Look at the most successful men in history. They didn't waste their time chasing distractions. They trained their minds to focus, to work, to endure. They understood that real success comes from sacrifice, from doing the hard work, even when they didn't feel like it. That's the difference between those who win and those who lose. Winners control their desires. Losers let their desires control them. If you spend your life chasing dopamine, you'll never have the discipline to build something meaningful. Most people can't even sit in silence without reaching for their phones. They can't focus for 5 minutes without needing some form of stimulation. That's how weak modern minds have become. And then they wonder why they struggle, why they feel lost, why they can't get anything done. The answer is simple. Their brains are wired for pleasure, not for progress. If you want to break free, you have to rewire your mind. You have to starve your addictions and feed your discipline. You have to stop being a consumer and start being a creator. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. That's the only path to true power. If you need motivation to work, you've already lost. If you need to feel like it to take action, you'll never succeed. The strongest men don't rely on moods or emotions. They rely on habits, on systems, on discipline. They wake up and execute whether they feel like it or not. They don't waste time debating with themselves. They don't negotiate with their weaknesses. They take control. Dopamine makes you weak because it tricks your brain into thinking you've achieved something when you haven't. You scroll for hours, watch videos, play games, and your brain rewards you with little hits of pleasure. But you've done nothing, you've built nothing, you've achieved nothing. And that's why so many people feel empty. Their brains are flooded with dopamine, but their lives are empty of real purpose. The only way out is through discipline, by rejecting cheap pleasure and choosing real effort. When you control your dopamine, you become unstoppable. You don't waste hours on nonsense. You don't seek comfort. You seek growth. You train your body, you sharpen your mind, you build something real. Every time you resist temptation, you become stronger. Every time you choose to work instead of waste time, you separate yourself from the weak. Success isn't about talent or luck, it's about discipline. The ability to do the work when no one is watching, when there's no immediate reward, when it's uncomfortable. That's what makes men great. Your mind is a weapon, but most people let it rust. They don't sharpen it, they don't train it, they don't use its full potential, and that's why they stay weak. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. If you don't control it, the world will. Society, media, distractions, everything around you is designed to hijack your brain and turn it against you. The ones who win in life are the ones who take full control of their own minds and turn them into lethal weapons. Weak minds are everywhere. People who are controlled by fear, by doubt, by laziness. They don't think for themselves. They believe everything they're told. They never question, never analyze, never strategize, and that's why they're stuck. A man with a weak mind is a man who can be manipulated, used, and discarded. He's a pawn in someone else's game. But a man with a strong mind, He sees through the lies, he calculates, he plans, he executes, he bends reality to his will instead of letting the world dictate his fate. Your thoughts create your reality. If your mind is filled with weakness, negativity, and excuses, your life will reflect that. If your mind is filled with strategy, discipline, and resilience, nothing can stop you. Most people don't realize that every thought they entertain is shaping their future. They let doubt creep in, they let fear control them, and then they wonder why they fail. Your mind is either building you up or tearing you down every second of the day. If you don't control what enters it, you will never control what comes out of it. Training the body is useless if the mind is weak. You see men in the gym lifting weights looking strong, but mentally, they're fragile. The first sign of hardship, they break. The first failure, they quit, because their minds were never conditioned for war. Strength isn't just about muscles. It's about resilience, strategy, and mental dominance. A truly powerful man is one who can endure anything, who can adapt to any situation, who can think 5 steps ahead while everyone else is reacting emotionally. Your mind is under attack every single day. From the moment you wake up, distractions are trying to pull you in. Useless information, fear-mongering news, social media nonsense. It's all designed to make you weak, to keep you unfocused. A strong mind filters out the noise. It doesn't get distracted by every little thing. It stays locked in on the mission. If you allow yourself to be consumed by distractions, you're letting your enemies win. Because make no mistake, this is a war. A war for your attention, your energy, your future. And most people lose before they even realize they're in a battle. A real weapon is sharpened daily. Your mind is no different. Reading, learning, analyzing, thinking critically, this is how you keep your edge. If you're not constantly upgrading your mind, you're falling behind. Knowledge is power, but only if applied. Most people collect information and do nothing with it. A strong mind takes in information, processes it, and then turns it into action. The moment you stop learning, stop challenging yourself, stop growing, that's the moment you become useless. Emotion is the enemy of a sharp mind. Weak men think with their feelings, and that's why they lose. They let fear stop them. They let anger control them. They let sadness drain them. A true warrior of the mind understands that emotions are tools, not masters. He doesn't react, he calculates. He doesn't panic, he adapts. When you control your mind, you control everything. But if your mind controls you, you are just another puppet being pulled by the strings of the world. The difference between winners and losers is mindset. 2 men can face the same problem. One sees a disaster, the other sees an opportunity. One crumbles, the other strategizes. One blames the world, the other finds a way to win. It's not the situation that defines you, it's your mind. Gratitude and a war mindset coexist because true warriors understand balance. Weak people think you have to choose one. Either you're grateful and soft, or you're hardened and always fighting. That's why they don't understand power. A man who is only grateful without a fight inside him is passive, weak, and easily controlled. A man who is only at war with everything, never stopping to acknowledge what he has, burns out and destroys himself. The strongest men know how to hold both. They wake up grateful for what they have, but they still go to war every day to get more. Gratitude is not complacency. It's not about sitting around being thankful while doing nothing. That's what average people do. They use gratitude as an excuse for laziness, telling themselves they should be happy with what they have instead of striving for more. But true gratitude is fuel. It's a foundation that keeps a man grounded while he's fighting his battles. When you are truly grateful, you don't take your opportunities for granted. You don't waste your days. You don't get distracted. You recognize that every breath, every moment, every chance is a gift, and you use it to push harder. A warrior is grateful because he knows what it's like to have nothing. He remembers the suffering, the struggle,